On to our next story. Away from the drama, away from the chaos, Akothee is now saying that she is ready to say she has forgiven her sister Cebbie Koks. Now we know Cebbie and Akothee had a falling out. It's been happening over years, with Cebbie Koks coming to the internet, or rather sharing very personal details about Akothee's personal life, coming up with stories and sharing with some people, and said people leaking said chats to the internet. So it's just been a lot of back and forth. And last we left it, Akothee was very hurt by some of the things that Cebbie Koks had shared with a third party, and the third party shared it with somebody else. Yani, squeeze, you can't even give tea. You can't give motionette to somebody because they're going to turn around and say, wacha nikwambie na usiambie mtu. Alafu yeye anaambia mtu mwingine, wacha nikwambie na usiambie mtu. And then it just becomes a thing. And very intimate details of Akothee's life were shared to the public. And she was hurt. Rightfully so, because the source, the ops, were actually somebody very close to her sister. However, after a while of thinking about it for a long time, she came up with this statement and said, I want my mom and me to be at peace. So I took this bold and scary step. First of all, I don't see why it involves us. I don't know even why you brought it to the internet. Because if you forgive somebody, so you just, call them, like, can I see you? Can we have coffee? Can we, let's sit down and talk about something. I want to say a letter to her sister. Dear Elseba Awor Kokeo, there are wounds I have nursed for years quietly, wounds I have covered with smiles, laughter and silence, all in the name of love, family and peace. I welcomed you back without telling you how deeply your actions bruised me, how you threw me to the world without armor, how I stood alone battling narratives I never wrote, while you, my own blood, watched, spoke, and walked away. You see, I saw you through life. I introduced you to a world of fame you were never prepared for, and sadly, you let that world shape how you saw me, your sister. You spoke of me in ways that cut deeper than any stranger could. Yet, even then, I did not stop loving you. I only saw you as a rebellious child, one who had lost their way in the noise of applause. It has taken me many years of silence and deep self-work and painful maturity to understand that forgiveness truly means what forgiveness truly means. It's not weakness, it's power. And for the sake of my freedom, my mental health, and the joy of our mother, I have chosen to forgive you. Yes, I have forgiven you, Elseba, Cebbie, Koks, not because you asked, not because you publicly corrected the damage, but because I deserve peace. And the story goes on and on and on. Lastly, she says, let's be bold enough to face the ghosts, to call them by name, to cry and to heal. Now, it looks like Akothee has really been working on herself. She has come to several conclusions, and honestly, with their aging mother, she would not want her to pass away knowing that her children are at war or her children are not on the same page. So she says, despite everything, and not because you asked for forgiveness, not because you corrected statements, but because I would just like to have a peaceful life and I would like to see our mother happy, I forgive you. Now, we have not seen a response from Cebbie Koks, and I kind of understand, because somebody forgiving you on the internet and not in real life can throw you off a bit. So we don't know if Cebbie is going to respond to all of this. Akothee, it's a bold move, but I feel like it would be the right move to keep your private affairs private. Because at the end of the day, the public only feeds on the stories you give us. They really don't care about your family. They just care to say, oh, you said you forgive her, but low-key you are carrying a grudge, blah, blah, blah. So just, call your sister and personally issue the apology.
Yeah, especially considering how much we insisted that the world has been a huge factor in plaguing Cebbie Koks and how she acted, how she saw you and perceived you, and what she ended up doing. And then you're putting her back into the space where she has to fight and rattle with this idea with the whole world watching.
Do I respond
you
publicly?
know, yeah, I feel like that's a really weird position to put anyone in, even if yes, they were the ones in the wrong. It still feels very blatantly like you are throwing her to the dogs yet again, simply because she did the same thing to you publicly. But hey, one thing about it, and two things for sure: a sibling and sibling rivalry is the most painful thing you can ever go through. Like, parents can come and go, friends can come and go, but your sibling,
For
the
life.
betrayal from your sibling, that will kill you. That will literally break you and just throw you in a ditch that is never lasting, right? So I can imagine, first of all, how long she's been thinking about this, how much pain and heartache she's gone through, because yes, it was a huge betrayal, and even more so, how much boldness and courage she had to pump into herself in order for her to pen this very wonderful message to her sister. Like, I genuinely believe that yes, she is gotten to the point where she's mature enough to be just like, you know what, she's still a child, she's still my sister, bygones be bygones. But the response from Cebbie, again, your actions don't necessarily always warrant the right reactions from people. So don't assume naturally that she will somehow clamor up and just be like, all right, I'm so sorry what I did, whatever. But like, I hope this is a beautiful ending of a sad story, because yeah, your sister, gosh, if my brother did something like that to me, I don't even know where I would go. Woo! I don't know. I really do not know what I would do. It would be the most painful thing anyone has ever done to me.
Yeah.
It would literally break me apart inch by inch. The one person I tell everything, I talk to about everything.
Unfiltered.
You know, like they know your
context.
whole life.
They know what's going on.
Your whole life they know.
And then they
They've been
purposely
there.
spread a bad rumor.
A bad story
when
about
they know
you.
exactly who you are. You know, no filter, no nothing.
That would be so painful.
That's
I can't
horrible.
even. Like, I can't even. And then the depth of that relationship, because like, you know this, like you've known them since you were kids. Do you know? Like when people say I've known this friend for a long since you've known your that would kill me. Woo, that would kill me. But also, I think that maternal state of things, the way she said that she treated Cebbie like she was her own daughter, like she was her own child, I think maybe that also played a part in like. Anyway, we're not here to dissect. We're here to pray that Cebbie Koks responds to this with grace, yeah, and with just a lot of demureness, because clearly Akothee has done the same, right? Just be a sister, be a good sister.